Why am I imparting this? Because it is very important for us to understand if in the first place we need to deal with the compliance first, not really going to the toileting or the potty training straight.
1, 2, 3, and don't you stop the music, get into it, won't you dance with me? Find a place and lose it, you can do it, won't you dance with me?
Hello guys! Welcome back to ZM2J's channel. This is Jocelyn P. Mangibin, a board-certified behavior analyst and an international behavior analyst. How's everyone? I hope you are safe and sound wherever you are. If you are new to this channel, we are tackling about applied behavior analysis. It is actually a natural science in which we manipulate the environment so that we can see what are the variables that affect your child's behavior. We are also checking or analyzing the functional relations between the behavior and the environment. Well, I know you're very excited for our topic for today. It's about toileting or potty training. I will just give you some tips or techniques on how to train and what are the things that we need to understand and we need to remember when training a kid in the toileting or potty training. Are you ready? Get your pen and paper and have some notes so that you can remember what are those tips that we can give you now. Let's start! The first and foremost that you need to bear in mind is the physical aspects. Okay, so if you are having trouble or having problem with potty training or toileting, you need to check first the physical situation of your child, which means you need to go to the doctor, physical doctor, general doctor, so that you can check if everything is okay with your child. If the physical aspects has been ruled out, then that means we need to deal with the behavioral aspect, which means we need to check 2 points. Take note of the 2 points. Number 1, compliance. Number 2, skills. There is a big difference if the child knows how to go to the toilet or knows the routine of the toilet, but he doesn't want to when you give the instruction. So that means that is the compliance part of the behavior that you need to deal with. Then when you compare it with the skills deficit, okay? So compliance is a behavior of complying the moment you give the instructions, all right? When you say skills deficit, that means your child really doesn't know what to do and how to do the toileting. Why am I imparting this? Because it is very important for us to understand if in the first place we need to deal with the compliance first, not really going to the toileting or the potty training straight. So if you could imagine, there are 2 parts of the training. One is for the compliance and another one is for the skills, so really the toileting part. Alright, so we're gonna tackle both of them. The moment you have come up into the assessment, which one should you do first, the compliance or directly to toileting, it is very easy for you to start on the first stage, which is scheduling. Scheduling is very structural actually. In the beginning, you will start with 30 minutes or 1 hour, but most of the time, in my case, in my previous experiences, we did like 1 hour is the maximum, okay? So the routine every hour. Again, it depends of which one is your target. Is it the compliance only or is the toileting part, all right? So for now, I'm just gonna tell you about the general schedule, all right? So every 30 minutes or 1 hour. It depends on your availability as well. Now, if you finalize your scheduling, you have your chart, then you're good to go to the next phase, which is if ever you're tackling about compliance, these are the tips and techniques that we are using for compliance. Number 1, motivation. You really need to find what is the most preferred item of your child. most of the time in our trainings, we are having our preference assessments, all right? So we are getting the first 3 highest preferred items, and then we separate them especially only for the training of the toileting time. All right, so either the compliance or the toileting time. With the use of your observation, so daily observation with your child, you can see what are the most preferred items of your child. Sometimes it's food, okay, so separate the food. Or sometimes it's really the toy, then separate the toy. Or really sometimes the iPad. So the iPad should be used only for toileting. Again, it depends. Sometimes the children are changing their preferences. So you have to check, you have to double check every time. If your child's motivation is going down, then you need to reassess what are the most favorite items or what are the most highly preferred items. Another pointer to remember, put some value on those items, which means those items that you selected for toileting only will be available only for toileting time. Another pointer that you need to remember is by using the first and then. Okay, you can use the first and then put the toilet picture, and then you can have the reinforcement picture. All right, so this is very important for us to at least help the child remember what they are getting after they did the toileting or even the action that they are training with. Actually, you can eventually put the toileting schedule on the longer version, not just the first and then. You can use the to do all done. Remember that? So to do, for example, playing time, reading time, and so on and so forth. And then you can put some toileting time in there so that your child will also be trained to follow the flow of your day. Now, if the compliance is the issue, we really need to think about what you need to focus on. All right, so probably touching the picture of the toilet first, and then standing up, and then walking 2 steps, and then walking 5 steps, and then walking, going to the toilet, and then touching the door, opening the door, something like that. So it really depends on how far you are from the training to the toilet. All right, wherever your target is, the reinforcement should be given. Okay, so if your target is for the child to touch only the picture, the moment you said, "Hey Mark, it's toileting time, toilet time," then you prompt your child to touch the picture. Toilet, that's good, touching the picture. Then give the reinforcement, because you are in the level of just touching the picture. You are shaping actually the child. And then if your child has mastered the touching of the picture, every time you said, "Hey Mark, toilet time," touch the picture and then walk to the toilet 1, 2 steps or 3 steps, whatever your target is. Wow, that's nice, walking to the toilet, and then give your reinforcement. Okay, so until such time you can shape your child to go straight to the toilet. And then that's the time you can check if your child's skills are present during the toileting time. Now, always remember to fade your prompts, okay? And always remember which part or which step you are in. So, for example, you are in the going straight to the toilet because your child has mastered touching the picture or walking 2 steps, 3 steps, and your child is now in the straight to the toilet. Then that means you don't reinforce the previous steps. All right, so be careful with that. You focus on the reinforcing the steps that you are training. Now, if the compliance is not the issue at all, but the issue is the skills, all right? So we check which skill is deficit. Okay, so you observe your child, we assess the child or whatever the step that is missing, and that's the time we can train the child with. For the skills deficit, you have to list down the steps, all right, that you want your child to learn. For example, imagine how's the toileting being done. Probably number 1 is walking to the toilet, opening the door, and then pulling down the pants, and then or the underwear. then sitting on the bowl, and then waiting for like 5 minutes. And then after waiting for 5 minutes, probably your child will just produce urine, or U plus in our data, or BM, or that's what you call the movement, all right, the bowel movement. So either of the two, as long as your child is not emitting negative behaviors and being compliant, and that's okay. Right? So when your child is sitting there waiting, and then another step would be flushing the toilet, putting up the plants, and so on and so forth. All right? If you observed that your child cannot perform it independently, or by himself or by herself, then that means you need to train your child with that specific skill, with that specific step. That means the reinforcement should be given the moment your child did that skill, probably prompted in the beginning, and then later on faded the prompt. Again, I would like you to review what are the chaining procedures for the task analysis that you can also use for toileting. I will put the link below, and you can check forward chaining, backward chaining with leap aheads, and total task. Just take note that that link is connected to the brushing of teeth, but I want you to just review the concept on how we are doing those chaining procedures so that you can also use it for toileting procedures. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for staying with me. I hope you learned something. What are the tips and techniques using ABA principles and concepts about toileting and potty training? Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like this video. Of course, share this to your friends and loved ones. And if you have some comments and questions, please write it down below so that I can entertain them accordingly. Till next video, thank you so much. Bye, and God bless you all.